What's up, Marge? How are you? I knew you guys could probably hear the outside noise. Jesse, how are you? What's up, Daniel? How are you this evening? Wendy, how are you? Red, Matt C, Savage, Lunatic. I don't know. I can't even smell it. Okay, I cannot even smell it. This is I don't know. Tattoo Patriot, how are you, my friend? What's up, POAG? I did say hi to you right in the very beginning. I said hi, Marge. Wesley September, what's going on? Shackle Neck. It's the day my buddy's shooting Big Boar. Nice. Aromac, what's going on, brother? How are you, buddy? Sniff it out, Pops. How are you, Pops? Dirty Dom? D-Hope? Widmore, what's going on, buddy? I have a question. How many days has it been since? I think we got punked. I don't know. Jessica, red card, look at you. Oh, yeah. Speaking of the that's crazy, AG. That's crazy. Simone, how are you, dear? How are you? I am doing well. I'm doing well, Aramek. I'm doing well. Pleasure to see all of you here tonight. What's up, Troy? How are you? I got 3, I think, hilarious lot lizard stories for you all. Monica Bruce, how are you? And I have got a stack. A stack. Poppy from Sweden, how are you? I just want to tell you, like, Simone, all the love in the world. I have no idea how you guys eat this in Australia, because I'm going to smell it. Tigger smelled it, and Tigger buried it. Tigger tried to bury it. I have no... Okay. Holy fuck. Woof. Fuck. What's up, Coker? Gringo! My goodness. My goodness. That is not the first time I've done that. That is not the first time. I messaged Gringo this week. We were talking about him last week. That's how many days ago, Widmore? No shit. Yes, Aramic, it is, I don't know. Have you tried Mermite? If it's anything like Vegemite, absolutely not. I appreciate Simone sending this to me, and I'm going to keep this in my studio forever. Like, I don't care. But if you ever smell this, it smells like a soy sauce in like a really old sneaker. That's my best thing. Because Simone sent it to me. So we were talking about Gringo last week, and I was talking about the people that Pops, happy birthday from upstate New York. It is midnight right now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pops. Happy birthday to you. All right. So I was talking about Gringo, and I messaged him because I was like, we haven't seen Gringo in forever. And I'm like, I wonder if I did something to piss him off. So I messaged him, and sure enough, I didn't. But Gringo, let me tell you, he changed his picture, and he is a beast of a man. He's like, I don't even know. I wouldn't want to face him in a dark alley. I really wouldn't. I would, if I had Vegemite on a spoon and I flicked it at him, maybe then. What's up, Nubian Empire? How are you, Emperor? Maggie Mayhem. I want to hear about that story, AG. Email me, please. Simon Jones, how are you? There's always new stories on my channel every day. Every first upload of the day is a brand new one. And I've said it about 1 million times, so it's not my fault you didn't hear it. And then the live, it's all new stories. So I don't know. Maybe you just didn't hear it. Maybe you just failed to hear it. Maybe I don't know. Monkey Poo Coffee. M, how are you? SDL, how are you, buddy? Sean, what's going on? Joshua, Simone, or Sonia, how are you? Traveling through a field of betrayal. Head full of zombie. I'm not a strange lady. She made me nervous. Ha ha! Widmore, I see what you did right there. I do. Oh, yeah, he's singing the whole song for us. AK, what's going on? Susie Smith, how are you? What's up, Joel? 420 Tyler? Dude, we had your twin on last weekend. I forgot it was something 420. And I was like, Jersey Nightcat, how are you, dear? Makes you wonder. Davis Andrew. Hamel, how are you? Enormous. Dustin. And so we had your twin or your surrogate, and would Vegemite work against Dogman? It may bring Dogman in. It may bring him in. I don't know. If you ever smell it, my stomach gets queasy just thinking about it. I didn't think it would smell that bad, Simone. Fuck. Whoa, boy. That goes right up here. Look how red my face. Oh, Jesus. My eyes are watering. Oh, my goodness. Dude, the other night, we kicked the shit out of him. I think we lost tonight. Arabic. I haven't gotten my hair cut in a while, Kreger, but thank you. I'm growing it out. I just put like shit in it. A spoonful of this will get rid of anything. It may get rid of like, I don't even know. You got diabetes. You got Wilfred Brimley in your closet. Give him a spoon of this and diabetes and Wilfred are gone. Yeah, we're letting our ass kicked tonight, buddy. What is it? It's in a Vegemite sandwich. I come from the land down under. What's going on, R? How are you? If I missed anyone, I apologize. I'm happy that everyone is here tonight. No haircut, but thank you, Dana. I just put some stuff in it tonight. I put Vegemite in it. If I do have a second team, it would be the Sox, to be honest with you, Tyler. It would be the Sox. Colleen McDermott, how are you? Oh my God. I hope you don't I honestly hope you don't take it as an insult, Simone, but I can't do it. I can't. It is some fucking harsh stuff, my friends. Whew. Isabel had the same reaction I did just there. I have that same reaction almost every time I do it. Andy, that's crazy, buddy. Are you sure it wasn't that hefty stalker that's been around your house lately? You're Yee. How are you tonight? Bob P., how are you, buddy? You may have to be brought up on it. You may. Honestly, Simone, you may have to be. And you know what? I thought about it. I literally, I'm like, how do I do this? And I felt guilty because I knew there was no way I was going to be able to do it. I don't even know. Limburger cheese? Yeah, just the name of that scares the shit out of me. What's up, Record Girl? How are you? Whew, God, my stomach hurts now. All right. Oh, there. And I think I had food poisoning last night from Panera's fucking gross soup. Not recently, Matt, but thank you for asking. Not recently. I mean, it's still going on. I'm still sketched, but I don't know. It's not as bad. What's up, Mikey? Limburger is awesome. Neck, you are the only person in the world that would say that. I guarantee it. Well, there are people that eat haggis, but what's up, Norman Comics? How are you? Dude, 5 rings. Last night's game was phenomenal. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? I thought it was 18-6. Richard Nimick, how are you, my friend? Linda, what's going on? T1 Border Jumper, how are you? Blue cheese? Blue cheese is good. I'll eat blue cheese. Where is Janie? Let me see. Hang on. I got to check on Janie. God dang it. She knows I don't use, I guarantee she's, Nicole, none of your business. We smeared Limburger cheese on someone's exhaust. Oh my God. You should put Vegemite in that. That's some harsh shiznits. You're welcome, pups. Let's see, Janie. Won't be there tonight. I'm sorry. Oh. Hang on a second. Janie, I hope you feel better. And if you're up to it, just pop on and listen. Don't comment. But I hope you feel better tonight. All right. Good night, dearie. All right. Getting psyched up I'm sweating. That shit made me sweat. 3 Cat Mom, I didn't forget you. What's up, Hercules Misfit? Thank you. I did not forget you because what I said was, if I missed anybody, I apologize, but include yourself in it. I try. Sasquatch Grandma. Sumner. There's Sumner. There's someone I can forget. No, I'm just kidding, Sumner. All right. Oh, thank you, RR. Could you imagine if the feds that use? No, dude, and honestly, all right. So Shackleneck can verify about the van on Saturday nights because he's been to my house, and it is 100% true. For the love of, how are you? And it is sketchy because they just literally will pull up there and sit there. I don't even know. I don't like it though. We had a shitload of storms. It stopped storming though. Thank God. UPS can find me. They always do. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just because, I mean, anyone can say it and have a cop just park, randomly park, but it is every night. It is every fucking night on Saturdays, and it's just weird. No, it's a random police car every night or every Saturday night, parked right across the street from my house. Now they park just down the ways. You can't see them, but like, kind of like, if diagonally there's a tree right there. They were parked in front of that sign one time on that side. They're up a ways. So like 3-4 cars down that way they are now. But there's no reason to park there. There's like literally none of my neighbors are police officers. I live in a commercial area. The building I live in was a doctor's office at one point, and it's supposed to be commercial, but it's just residential now. It's just me and my daughter. Next door is an antique shop and 2 apartments, and they are not police officers. Next door, or down from there, is a CPA. So, all right, here we go. If I missed anybody, I apologize. And I'm going to start the night off. At Camp San Luis, OBS. At Camp San Luis, Obispo, a military base, on 10/15/2002 at 3:35, I was awoken by a small non-human giving me what seemed like a medical exam. First, I felt hard tapping on my legs, and as being approached, my face was fully awakened to one being on my right doing the exam and the other at my foot, watching me. As I assessed what was going on, I tried to scream, but I had no voice. At that moment, the figure at the base of my bed was approximately 3.5 feet in height, with a hood and a helmet-like face cover with no seams or color to his uniform, began to fade and become translucent, then disappear. I believe it was either being returned from abduction or I was being abducted when I awoke. I gained control of my voice after they disappeared. I told my roommate, who shared a dorm room, and he believed me, and we walked around my dorm room waving our arms around, expecting to hit the being while it was invisible. We never found the being, but my roommate saw a being in the room a different night. But I was not in our dorm for that event. I never believed in extraterrestrial until I saw one of these things myself. And that was at a National Guard. He was at his National Guard station in California. Janie won't be here tonight. Unfortunately, Bob Rings, and I miss her too. Or Aramic, I'm sorry. Oh, God. The chuff. Aramak! Thank you, buddy. Love you, Aramak. In not a weird way, but in a weird way, maybe. I thought I had two of these. I'll save that one for later. Gringo! Look at that. Look at that new freaking picture Gringo's got. He's a fucking big pimpin' with that hat on tonight, buddy. Randy man, I got lot lizards for you. Only $20, baby. We'll do a lot lizard story in about 10 minutes. I've been working as a park ranger at Little Buffalo State Park in central PA for about 6 months when I had my encounter. It was August of 2006. My partner and I were driving around the park at night to do a final check of the area for the evening. We were about halfway through our section of the park when we got a call from dispatch saying that there was a camper who wanted us to come out and take a look at his RV because he thought he had been vandalized and broken into. I told dispatch that we would be there shortly. We turned our vehicle around and we arrived at his campsite within 5 minutes or so. We found the gentleman, mid-60s, standing outside of his RV looking nervous. He walked up to our truck and I asked him if we could help him look around his camper. His behavior was very unusual, so he cautiously agreed and walked over to the camper with us, following closely behind. He was very nervous and he kept looking around the entire time, almost like he was expecting something to jump out. We took a quick look inside the camper and found nothing that appeared to be out of place or missing. I asked him if anything had been taken from inside and he said no, but that there had been some things he thought were moved around during a short time when he was gone. I looked around for another minute or so before telling him that we didn't see anything wrong. We thanked him for calling us, and then we started walking backward toward the truck. That's when my partner, who is an avid hunter, said to me, "Do you smell that?" I stopped walking for a second because I honestly didn't notice any kind of odor other than the normal smell of state park campground, mildew, pine needles, etc. My partner has spent many hours in the woods, so he knows his smells. He told me that it smelled like something was trying to cover up its own scent, and how that he has heard it and smelled it before, or he has smelled this before and heard of it before. It was a very light odor, but definitely there. We looked around for another minute or so before my partner said, "I think we need to get out of here." We got into the truck and drove off toward the main area of the park, which was about 1 mile away from where we were at the campsite. We navigated our way up a path, and as soon as we got onto the main road that travels through the park, we both saw it. It looked to be 7 to 8 feet in height walking on the road. I was driving, so I did not get a great look at it, but my partner saw it walk out into the road in front of us. It then quickly crossed to the other side where there were more vegetation and trees. He said that he could only see the backside as it walked across. It had very wide shoulders, almost too wide for its body. He also said that he thought he could see long black hair covering its arms and shoulders, but he was not sure because it was dark. We drove around looking for this thing for over an hour. We had no luck finding anything else unusual, so we eventually gave up and returned to the office. The next day, I could not stop thinking about it, so I went back to that site by myself in hopes of finding evidence of what we saw or smelled there. But we found nothing out of place or unusual. I decided to just move on and not focus on it since there's no concrete evidence. I've heard of other encounters in the area as well, which makes me believe that something is going on there for sure. Also, there have been sightings reported from this area all the way to Harrisburg. Anyway, that is my experience, and I'm not here to convince anybody that what I saw was real, but I know that what I saw and smelled was real. Also, there have been several reports of dead deer in the area, deer that were torn apart but not consumed on. Now, that is very unusual to say the least, so I'm wondering if it is all connected somehow. The most common theory among hunters around here is something is killing deer just for sport and then covering its tracks up or scent with another odor to mask it. I can't quite figure out how that would work, but that's what some people are saying. In the end, I am not sure exactly what is going on here. Spaghetti Guy, what's going on? Robert Sharp, how are you? What's going on with Robert? Tina, how are you tonight? I must have missed something. I have severe blood infection. Oh, Jesus, man. Please, I hope you get better. Dude, you should be in a fucking hospital, to be honest with you. Aramic is a legend. Ivan Ferrero, how are you? Why aren't you in the hospital, Robert? That's fucking nuts, bro. Bruce Bissell. No joke, exactly. That's what my dad almost died of. I don't believe so, Orphan Andy. I think people have seen something that looks like a Dogman that does like fly, but I don't believe it was a Dogman. I've been in the hospital, Jeff, but they released me because all 3 hospitals are full. That's fucking horseshit, dude. I hope that you really stay on top of this, please. Zilla, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. That's exactly what they did to my dad. And he was in palliative care he was hospitalized for 7 months and in palliative care for 5 of those 7 months. And you know what's crazy is the doctor that did the surgery on my dad doesn't work for the hospital anymore. He was a cardiac doctor, doesn't work for the hospital. He works for a medical consulting firm now. Go tell me something ain't right there, huh? Yes, I do, Matt. See, yes, I do. Well, the flesh isn't as fresh anymore, but thank you, SD. It was my kayak. Delirium's gone through some shit too. Giant Slayer's going through some serious shit as well. Man, this is crazy. Anushka, how are you? Thank you, Carla. Appreciate that. What's crazy is I called a lawyer for my mom because my mom, like, even though she worked for the hospital, she doesn't know how to like deal with shit like that. She's very like timid. And I called a lawyer and explained everything that was going on. And the lawyer called us back and said, "We can't handle your case." And I was like, "What do you mean you can't handle the case?" Like, weird. Thank you, Cuffed. I honestly don't. I don't have any. The book's done. The book's been done. I'm waiting for the publisher and everybody else to figure it out. I revised what I was supposed to, and now it just sits. Zilla, you are the man, and I do hope you take some Excedrin. All right. I think it's lot lizard time. Lot lizard time, kids. Lot lizard time. This is the only fictional story we do on this channel, which is the lot lizards. So here we go. This goes out to all of my Robert Sharp. I've been smoking pot for the pain and stress release. Good stuff. Good stuff, buddy. Pot's better than narcotics. I don't smoke it, but if I was sick, I would probably rather than take narcotics. All right, here we go. Lot lizard time, babies. The flickering neon sign of the dusty boot truck stop buzzed ominously, casting a lurid pinkish glow across the rain-slicked asphalt. Inside, Lizzo, a woman whose curves and confidence could stop a Mack truck, adjusted her sequenced bustier. Tonight was shaping up to be a slow one. Evenings were usually a mixed bag. Sometimes she'd make enough to cover the cost of her room. Sometimes she'd leave with nothing but a sore back and an echo of bad pickup lines. But, you know, a girl's gotta eat. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream ripped through the silence. Earl, the trucker, built like a brick shithouse with a heart softer than a baby's bunny, barreled into the diner, eyes wide as saucers. "Lizzo! Lizzo! You ain't gonna believe this!" he stammered, pointing a trembling finger toward the parking lot. Lizzo, ever the pragmatist, grabbed her trusty baseball bat from behind the counter. "Earl, honey, I've seen things in this truck stop that would make a priest question his faith. Try me." Earl swallowed hard. It's a leprechaun, but not like a cute cereal box leprechaun. This one's flamboyant, gay, and demonic." Lizzo raised a skeptical eyebrow. "A demonic, flamboyant, gay leprechaun? Earl, you haven't been hitting the road salts lately, have you?" Before Earl could protest, another scream echoed from outside, followed by an unmistakable sound of shattering glass. Lizzo, bat at ready, cautiously pushed open the door, Earl cowering behind her. A scene that unfolded was pure, unadulterated chaos. Tiny, rainbow-covered explosions erupting around the parking lot. Trucks were rocking violently, their horns blaring in discordant unison. And in the center of it all, prancing with malevolent glee, was a leprechaun unlike anyone had ever seen before. He wore a shimmering lime green suit that looked suspiciously like it was made out of disco balls. His pointed green hat was perched atop of his perfectly coifed hair. He clutched the shillelagh and pulsed with a dark energy, occasionally using it to strike a dramatic pose. "Greetings, mortals," the leprechaun shrieked, his voice a high-pitched, grating whine. "I'm Ralph, and I'm here to spread fabulous mayhem." Ralph flicked his wrist, sending a swarm of glitter bombs toward the horrifying group of truckers huddled by the gas pumps. They scattered, screaming, covered in sparkling iridescent glue. Lizzo, never one to back down from a challenge, stepped forward. "All right, Ralphie boy, this ain't your pot of gold here, and you're scaring my customers." Ralph stopped his prancing, a look of mock offense on his face. "Scaring, darling. I'm simply adding a touch of sparkle to this drab existence. And as for gold, I'm more interested in souls." He let out a cackle that sounded like a rusty hinge. Earl, emboldened by Lizzo's bravery and perhaps a healthy dose of fear, chimed in. "Leave this place, you jiggly jerk." Ralph glared at Earl. "Jiggly? You dare insult my specialness, you lumbering oaf?" He raised his shillelagh, prepared to be dazzled to death. The shillelagh glowed, and a beam of pure, unadulterated fabulousness shot toward Earl. Lizzo, with surprising agility, pushed Earl out of the way, taking on the full force of the beam. Instead of disregarding, however, Lizzo began to glow. Her sequenced bousier shimmered. Her makeup became even more vibrant, and her hair, well, her hair defied gravity. She looked like a drag queen who had just won the lottery. Lizzo stared at her reflection in the chrome bumper of a nearby truck, then back at Ralph, a slow, wicked grin spread across her face. Ralph, honey, she purred, her voice suddenly laced with a newfound, almost supernatural confidence. You think that's fabulous? Hold my beer. What followed was a battle for the ages. Lizzo, empowered by a mystical fabulousness, charged by Ralph, swinging her baseball bat with the force of a hurricane. Earl, armed with a tire iron and fueled by adrenaline, joined the fray. Ralph fought back with his shillelagh and his arsenal of glitter bombs, but they were no match for Lizzo's newfound power. She moved with impossible grace, dodging his attacks and landing blows that sent him staggering. Finally, with a mighty swing, Lizzo knocked the shillelagh right from Ralph's grasp. It clattered to the ground. The dark energy dissipated. Ralph, deflated and defeated, looked around at the chaos he had wrought. Fine, he shrieked, stamping his tiny little foot. You win, but I'll be back. And next time I'm bringing backup. Fabulous demonic backup. With a final dramatic flourish, he vanished into a puff of rainbow-colored smoke. Lizzo, still glowing slightly, leaned on her bat, breathing heavily. Earl patted her on her back. You did it, Lizzo. You saved us. Lizzo shrugged. Just another day at the Dusty Boot, Earl. Just another day. She glanced down at her shimmering bousier. Although, I might have to keep this look. It's kind of growing on me. The truckers slowly emerged from their hiding place, marveling at the scene. Some were still covered in glitter, their faces etched with disbelief. But they were alive. And the truck stop was safe, thanks to a lot lizard named Lizzo and a demonic flamboyant leprechaun named Ralph. Just another night at the Dusty Boot. And a pretty good story, if you ask me. Lizzo's always the hero, right? Dude, Lizzo's the best. No, Matt. That whole thing has been dead for a long time. I know some people still talk about it like it's new and there's still stuff going on, but nah. Wiley, what's up, buddy? Matt! Holy shit! That's 20 members. 20 members. What's up, Cynthia from LA? Robert, please, man, fucking call your primary doctor. Please, I don't want to lose another sub. The Obese, what's up? I'm so glad Gringo's here with us tonight. I haven't seen him in forever. I'm so glad everyone's here. Thank you, Randy, man. Appreciate that. No, I'm not doing it, Matt. See, you just saw me almost puke. You're going to the doctor. All right, awesome. Thank you, Robert. I'm not honestly sure. It happens, to be honest with you. It happens if the luck of the draw springs on you. It is a family reunion tonight. Pups' birthday's tonight. Janie's not here, though. I only have 112 likes. I have half the likes of the people that are here now. That's so weird. YouTube fucking hates me. What's up, Herman? How are you, buddy? My husband's in bad shape. Oh, damn. Mindy, I hope he gets better. Prayers go out to Mindy's husband. Northern Lights are being a bit of a bitch compared to the other planets. Shalom, how are you? Thank you, Shalom. I appreciate that. I really do. What's up, Brittany? You know, I bet you Haunted pops in tonight. Haunted will pop in tonight. Dude, so I was talking I ended up talking to Jimmy Petnito today, or not today, this week. And if you guys don't know who he is, I had him on the show. He's the cameraman. He was the cameraman for Ed and Lorraine Warren back in the day. But he also worked extensively with Father Malachi Martin. And I told Pups about Hostage to the Devil. And as I told her, I'm like, I haven't seen that movie in like a year. So I had to rewatch it just to rewatch it. Such a good freaking movie. Neil Decker, how are you? My email is this right here. I'll type it in for you. You got to go to Gmail and then you type in my email address, which is right here. And then you type me a letter and I'll get it and I'll respond. That's how you email me. Being a wise ass. Pups beat me. How can we find out if cryptids are real without pictures or videos? Look real. Are they just us? No. We know they're real because they've been talked about since time immemorial, and so many people have seen them. I have never seen like a real good picture of them, and it's I believe because of some magnetic vibration they cause. They come out of portals. A lot of them do. The best video I've ever seen, two of the best videos I've ever seen, Scott Carpenter and Kirk, my buddy Kirk. And both of them are truly amazing. I think Kirk's is a little more clear, but it's kind of hard to say it doesn't exist when, since the dawn of man, people have been talking about the same fucking evil cryptids that we talk about now, What's up, audio? Kirk Stokes' video is pretty awesome, though. I like Kirk a lot, too. Plus, he's my friend. Langs, how are you? I'll put my trail cam up. I live in the Adirondacks, Matt C. I live in the Adirondacks. So I'm right here constantly. Yeah, I'll never forget what I saw, Mikey, ever. What's up, Katie Horton? How are you? Roland, how are you? I know when I captured the sound, that jumping Dogman, I think good. The big wolf against the smaller dog. Those are completely false. The one that was jumping on the rock has been proven it was false like 6 months after it got aired. Those are definitely not real. Either one of those. What's up, Juno? How are you? In the 30-something years I have been researching cryptids, I think I've seen 3, maybe 4 good videos. And I'm not even counting my own, because my own's fucking, I barely can see what it was that ran across the trail. Sodonia. Yeah, definitely weird. I'm 73 years old. Remember that it was a double bed, and my mother would even put pillows on the side of my bed. The other side was up against the outside wall of our house, which was on the second floor, overlooking an alley that ran between our house and the house next door, so I couldn't get out. I always managed to do so. I woke up one night rocking violently from side to side. The next thing I knew, I was flying over the pillow and fell right down onto the floor with a thump. Most of the time, my parents did not hear me fall out of bed. Their bedroom wall was at the head of my bed. They would find me on the floor in the morning after I hit the floor and would be too terrified to get up. But then I would just fall asleep right there, not waking up. From what I can remember, as the years passed before entering first grade until about 12 years old, the whole bizarre incident obviously affected me and them so much that they put a nightlight in my room. They were highlighted my bed area, certainly not someone walking in the hallway or bathroom, which was adjacent to my bedroom. There wasn't any door on my bedroom and no nightlight of any kind up till this point. The even stranger part of this experience is that after installing nightlights, it started out like this, guys. I don't know. Even after the nightlight and moving my bed on the opposite side of the room, a very small bedroom, my bed now shoved up against the wall adjacent to the hallway, the little people stopped visiting me. My dad would even look under my bed with me and say, "See, there is nothing there, and there couldn't possibly be anyone that small who could get under your bed. It has to have been in the latter." Most recent years of my life, I have found out that there are people who have had stories of little people under their bed. The standard height from the floor to the bottom of the box spring was about 7.5 inches. The person who was recounting their experience believed they to be 8 to 9 inches tall. This certainly is close enough for a 7.5 inch space between the beds. I can't help but think there is a portal that connects them to the people they are watching, as an entity said obliquely. You may recall that this is not the first time I've talked about this, but I think it could be a X-Files episode. 73-year-old guy. All right. Pretty much the gist of the story is, and when he was a kid, his room was really small. So his bed was against the wall. He'd always fall out of bed. And he believed there was a portal under his bed. And the little kind of, I when I first read this and figured out what he was trying to say, I thought of that old cartoon from the 80s, The Littles. Just little fucking people like that, like little fucking gnomes that would come out of portals. So he believes that underneath that bed during that time period, before his dad had moved his bed, that there was a portal there. And then once his dad moved the bed, that portal would not open because it was not secured. Gremlins, Faye. Victor did, but it was canceled. If you go onto Amazon and type Victor Johnson, the first thing that'll pop up is Dogman book. I finished the book for him, and it never got put up. Mine didn't either. It's still in production or whatever. Whew. It's fucking hot in here. I have to keep my door shut because the AC is loud. Borrowers, yes. There. Much better. All right. Twilight Zone episode where the girl went into the pool. Oh, shit. Yes, I do remember that one. I did own a dog a long time ago. I had an Akita. If I had the best thing that I can say is the best video that I have is Kurt Stokes. My own video when I was up where Tom Messick disappeared, was the best thing that I've ever caught in my life. Well, the few things that I caught in my life on video was the metallic noise that people talk about when Tom disappeared. I caught that as well. Miles away from any kind of fucking human. And then whatever crashed out behind the woods from me, something blew through the woods that was behind me. Something ran across the trail. But then obviously when I went to the Conjuring house. Tigger is probably crashed out somewhere. I'll read it Life in Times, but I'm not going to put it on the channel because I don't like doing fiction stuff on my channel. Just cause. Oh, yeah, Blue. I've had Blue on here too. Dark Waters was really good friends with him and put him in touch with me. Really cool guy. He's actually a really cool guy. Right on, Spaghetti. Aramic, that would be it. I'm trying to think of what video it's on that I have. If you type in Blackie the dog, if you type in Facebook live stream Dogman, that'll bring the video up. Type it in on YouTube after the live stream or during the live stream, whenever you want to do it. And yeah, then. I would be too, Hercules. Brandy Stevens, how are you? Steph usually pops in, Samara. Steph usually pops in, but he's not here tonight. I'm hoping there will be other people who may have experienced the same thing. It involves my brother, and this account was pieced together after becoming involved. And after discussing it with other people who remembered it as well, many family members. I have not sugarcoated or added anything. This is exactly as we remembered it. I grew up in a former I grew up in a former coal mining town in North England. To give a little more background, this town is located between the cities of Newcastle, Upton, Tyne, and Durham. This area has had its share of UFO activity. This experience goes back to when I was 9 years old, back in 1997. At this time, I used to help my mom babysit my newborn cousin who lived on the same street. On this particular occasion, a Saturday night, my brother had decided to come too. He was 8 years old at the time. It was a normal evening, nothing out of the ordinary. My mom put the baby to bed at around 8 p.m. and we started watching a movie. My dad called to tell me that my mom had forgotten something in the house and asked me to go and pick it up. I left and decided to stay with my dad for about an hour before going back. Then the phone rang. I answered it as I was the closest, and it was my mom who was concerned about my brother who was freaking out. I passed the phone to my dad and he said he would come and get him. As we arrived, we found out that my brother was on the couch, all white and crying in fear. My dad asked him what had happened, but he could only speak gibberish. However, he was able to say, "I will never stay in this house again, and I want to go home." My brother and I share a room, and I still remember him crying all night. Needless to say, it was a sleepless night for the whole family. My brother never talked about what happened, and true to his word, he never slept at my aunt's house again. Several years later, when my brother was 16, he decided to open up about what had happened that night. We were all alone in the house while my parents were on holiday. I asked him, just as I remembered it, and he paused the computer game he was trying to play, stared at the paused screen, and said, Mom sent me to check on our cousin, the baby, so I went upstairs. I didn't turn a light on as the living room light was enough, and I went into the baby's room. Everything seemed normal at first. Then I felt it, a strange presence, as if something was behind me. It wasn't a feeling that something was there, but rather an unknown certainty. A heavy breathing sound started, and at first I thought it was a baby snoring, but it was too heavy. Sort of like Darth Vader, but more aggressive. I turned to the door slowly and I saw a figure. It was dark, but I could tell that its skin was green on its right side. What scared me the most was its glaring red eyes and just staring at me. I hid behind the door thinking that I was going to die. It just stood there staring at me through the crack of the door, its head turning to keep track of me with its red eyes. Those red eyes would just stare. It seemed to stay there for maybe 20 minutes, and I didn't move as I thought it would hurt me. Then it disappeared. I think it may have opened a window and jumped out. I only realized it was gone when the heavy breathing stopped and the feeling of terror disappeared. Although my brother had claimed it felt like an incident lasted 20 minutes, he had literally been in there for like 2. I have to admit his experience was unsettling, and I imagine that people would think it was made up. It's quite a lot for a 9-year-old to remember, but he claims as he got older, he was able to describe it better, as this night has always been on his mind. My aunt was never told the experience, but one day I asked her if she had ever seen or heard anything strange in her house, to which she replied, Once, when your brother was a toddler, he fell down the stairs. When we asked him if he was okay, he replied that a man with red eyes had done it. Although he was very young, he remembers it clearly to this day. He recalls looking back up the stairs to see the figure standing there, just staring at him with those glowing red eyes. So it seems it wasn't the first time he had encountered this being. My brother also claims that he has dreams about it ever since the babysitting incident. One dream in particular was that he was playing with our Labrador in my mom's home office one evening. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed a figure walk past the door in the dark. The dog went crazy, snarling and barking, with all of the hair standing on end, like a dog does when it's trying to make itself look bigger when it's under threat. But looking out into the darkness to see what the dog was barking at, there they were, those staring red eyes. For years, we tried to make sense of it, doing a lot of internet research, writing in forums and so on, but I've never come to a conclusion of what it was. I understand it is a lot to read and to take in, but maybe someone after all of these years can shed some light, or maybe just explain that they've had their own experience with these red eyes. Well, I don't know. I've always thought that these things, like the reptilians, I think they use portals and they'll go in and out of people's homes. So definitely a reptilian. Liz, how are you, dear? There's Lizzie. I'm so glad you are. I am so glad. What's up, Madam Rougarou? That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're here with us. Oh, that's creepy, Nicole. That is creepy. Eco, yeah. I mean, if you really, there's a lot of information. The CIA has actually shared information on their CIA.gov. They've released information on portals. You just know you have to know where to look, but they know how to use portals. They've known how. I've talked about it many times on the channel. Oh, I'm fucking cold. That shit fucking messed me up. What's up, Justin? Yes, it is. Fuck it. We'll do a little get. I'm like Theo Vaughn on Joe Rogan with the smelling salts. Oh, God. Oh, God, I got to put the cap back on. Oh. You can see, that's where I've tried to taste it. I've tried. Oh, fuck. I did try it. What's up, Steven? How are you? Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Orlando. I used to live in Flagler, just right outside of Orlando. Aramek! Thank you, Aramek. I gotta find a story for Aramek. Ooh, I got some scary ones right here, though. Hang on. Here we go. This one goes out to the best and brightest Mothman researcher this planet has ever known, and that is Aramek. Aramek, this one goes out to you, my friend. I live in Newark, New Jersey, and I like to explore old abandoned buildings and locations. Back in May of 2023, I was at the old Essex County Jail, which has deteriorated beyond recognition. There are walls falling down and holes in the ceiling. The entire complex has been left in ruins. It's also a place where squatters and homeless people have moved in throughout the years, but they usually leave quickly. I've been wanting to go there for a while, so I strapped on my GoPro and headed there one weekend. I planned to spend a full night in the jail. The locks on nearly all gates have been cut, and there are gaps in the fences, so it has easy access. There's also a dirt road that leads into the place. I took my time walking along the dirt road, then entering the buildings because I wanted to get some decent shots of the exterior. Once inside, I ventured all over the jailhouse. I soon understood why so many people were creeped out by this place. It's absolutely disgusting and putrid from the transients coming and going. I decided to make my way to the lookout tower, which was the most comfortable area I could find. I could see my car in case there was a problem, and I had a great view of the entire facility from here. Once it got dark, I got as cozy as I could in my sleeping bag. At around midnight, I was awoken by a loud banging noise. I grabbed my lantern and adjusted the knob to make it brighter. Then I had a clear look at the cause of the racket. A huge figure with giant wings flung itself against the window of the lookout tower. The entire room shook, and I heard the glass starting to crack again. It hurled itself onto the window. The thing was terrifying. It had large red eyes that glowed in the light of my lantern. The body was black and covered in hair. The wings were bat-like and at least 15 feet wide. It was massive. I was shocked by the sight, so I started to run down the stairs of the lookout tower to get away, but I stumbled and dropped my lantern. It crashed on the steps. I was in total darkness. The banging had stopped. I then heard it take flight with its powerful wings, and soon it was gone. I believe that the creature is a mix of moth, bat, human. Seriously, I believe light from the lantern attracted it. Since that night, I have talked to other urban explorers who have mentioned the Batman of Newark. I've never heard of it before, but apparently others have. Thank you. That was a good one, right, Aramik? I know, Eli, what's up, buddy? I know that you wish that was you. Wilburn! Holy shit, fucking Wilburn! What's up, buddy? Dude, I remember Newark is a shithole, but I mean, I've been there, but Camden, New Jersey is fucked. I remember when I was like 14 and 15, I was like I was amateur sponsored by Shut Skates out of New York City when I was 15. So I was 16 years old when this happened. But we were skating down in New Jersey and they brought us to Camden and by the old Campbell Soup fucking factory. And dude, there was fucking people slinging crack and like fucking bad shit was going on. And I was a little kid, man. And Camden is not a safe place. I imagine. I was skating with Shane Schaefer at the time, Steve. And I was using the shark. The shot shark. So that was fucking wow. 30 years ago. 31, 32, 32, 33 years ago. All right, let's think of a good song to play. I got it. Because why? Because 20 bucks is 20 bucks. Larry Lidman, holy shit, buddy. Thank you so much. Guesses on the song? Larry Lidman and Aramik, thank you guys for just making. Oh my God, Tim Hirsch got it. Tim Hirsch got her. Got her good. Yes, it was Beastie Boys. Oh, I will do Back in Black later on. Oh shit, I gotta clean that thing again. I don't know which smells worse, the fucking Vegemite or my fucking shofar. Oh boy. Sabotage. Wiley got it, baby. I don't have neighbors, Wendy. I have like I'm the only person that has a house in here. There's all apartments. So what are they going to do? Complain about the one person that has a house? That guy that lives in the house, we don't like him. What's up, Eddie from Kentucky? Dude, that antique shop is haunted. So one night, I'm fucking me and Belle. It was during COVID, so everything was closed. Me and Belle looked down into because all right, so downstairs, the downstairs was the doctor's office, it was the dentist's office. I lived upstairs even when he was alive. He lived upstairs a long time ago. Then he had his family and bought his own house, still owned the building. So I moved in and lived here for years. Then I got custody of Belle. Belle moved in, and COVID hit. And me and Belle are up here, and we're looking down into the antique store. And the lady who owns the antique store lives across the street that way. So she can't hear what I'm doing now. She has like a old brownstone, Victorian brownstone. And so I look in, and there is something that was not human in there. It looked like a cross between an alien and a goat man. It was all fucked up looking. And I'm like, Belle, am I just like seeing things? And she's like, maybe it's a zombie because COVID had just hit. So we thought people were going to turn into zombies and we could shoot them. But that's another story for a different day. So anyway, we're like, holy shit, there's something in there. And we just stared at it for a while. But yeah, that place is haunted as hell. And then when Tony, the dentist, passed away, I got the house. This is a strange one. In 1905, a young girl was sent by her parents to gather fruit in an area of Tenfrey Canary Islands just before supper. However, the girl never returned, and a massive search was conducted all over the area. She was never found. However, 3 decades later, in 1958, the young girl reportedly returned, looking exactly the same as the time she disappeared. According to her, only 15 to 20 minutes had gone by. According to the girl, as she was collecting pears at a pear grove, she noticed a very tall man dressed in white standing near her. Strangely, she felt no fear, but instead felt a strange attraction toward the man. The tall entity then invited the girl to follow him, and she accepted. The girl accompanied the stranger into a nearby ravine where there was a descending set of steps, and the girl followed the white-clad stranger down into. At the bottom of the steps, there was a garden in which there was other similar dressed entities. The girl remembers speaking for a few minutes with the strange group and later was guided back up the steps by the initial entity, which then bid farewell to her. Incredibly to the girl, it had only been missing 15 to 20 minutes, but in actuality, 30 years had gone by. Apparently, the investigators were frustrated by the lack of cooperation by the local authorities about the event. Only one local elderly woman came forward and suggested that the girl of the pears may still be alive. How fucking weird is that? Hang on a second. Hang on, I got a surprise for you. Hang on. I got a surprise. Hang on one second. I'm going to get the surprise. Hang on. Let me find out where she is. No. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here, buddy. Yeah. Anyway, we have a new kitty. She is this big. And I'm trying to get a hold of Belle. I think Belle's downstairs with her. She is so fucking cute. Damn it. Belle's either asleep or downstairs. She is so cute. Like, I was pissed because Isabel hemmed and hawed. Daddy, we need to get this little kitty. Its mom got hit by a car. It doesn't have a mom. It doesn't have a mom. And I'm like, dude, I don't want another cat. I'm like, please, I don't want another cat. And then she gets it. And we're driving home, and I'm pissed. I'm not even looking at her. I saw it, and I went. And she's like, isn't it so cute? And I'm like, nope. I'm like, it smells. I'm like, it's farting in my car, Isabel. I don't like it. Now, Tigger fucking loves it. Tigger thinks he's a mommy. And Apollo, loves it, but beats it up. It is so fucking cute. And when Belle comes up with it, I'm going to bring it to show it to you. Tigger loves it. Tigger loves it, Simone. Candy Phillips, how are you? When she comes up, I'm going to make her freaking bring it up. Let me see something. Hang on. Kind of getting sketched out that she's not answering. Hang on. Tigger absolutely adores it. Hey, where are you guys? Oh, when you come up, is the kitten downstairs? Bring him upstairs really quick so I can show everybody. All right. Love you. She's going to bring him up. You guys get to see Stormy. I love her. She's so cute. All right. We'll do another experience really quick until she comes. In early February of 2017, something really unusual took place. I was at the local Target in Philadelphia suburb shopping with my daughter. As we walked down the aisle on our way to the electronics department, I noticed a young woman ahead of us, about 20 years old or so. Absolutely nothing remarkable at first glance. She was thin, had long, dark brown hair, a t-shirt, sweatpants, and sneakers. It appeared that she was biting her nails because her hand was next to her mouth. As we got closer in passing, there was something weird about her gait. Her strides seemed to be long, exaggerated. She was a little over 5 feet in height, so it was looking odd. As we got closer, what appeared to be nail biting was actually she was biting her fingers to the point that there was blood visible. As my friend passed her, the woman turned to look, and she went by. Her eyes were jet black. She then gazed at me, staring me down, and as immediate. It was nothing. It was nothing. I had here. Let me see her. Hang on one second. Back up. There she is. This is Isabel and her boyfriend's new kitten. Hi, baby. Her name's Stormy. Look how cute she is. Hi. Yay.
She's sleeping in the room tonight.
You're going to let her sleep in there tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm promise not going to get her.
Baby. Okay. Here you go. Say bye, Stormy. Ow. All right. Good night, guys. Love you. I called your phone like 100 times.
Oh, my phone was upstairs.
I figured. Love you.
Love you.
And that was Stormy. How fucking cute is she? She is so cute. She definitely does get a pass. All right, so we'll start this over. Aw, Dana, that's awesome. Dude, but she was farting up a storm. You're right. She, neck. Yeah, buddy. I can't either, Liz. I can't either. But she is priceless. How old is she? I honestly don't even know. Her mom died. Her mom died, and she was at not such a good. She was not at such a good place to be. So, as much as I didn't want to bring her home, I'm happy that we did, because, you know what I mean? Like, what's up, Sean Lynch? Sean Lynch, how are you? Mountain Dew forever. Dude, kitties are priceless. She's awesome. And Tiggy loves her. Let me see if I can get Fatty in here. Hey, boy. Boy. Come on, bud. Tiggy. I'm going to try to trick him with some Big League Chew. Buddy! You want some Vegemite, buddy? Come on, bud. Come on, Tig. Tig ain't coming. Tig's like, fuck you, Dad. Fuck you. You haven't been around, have you, Mighty Thor? Because earlier today I said the book was not out, and I'm still waiting on the publisher to do it. And I've said it like, I don't know, every live stream. Tig might come in eventually. All right, so I'm going to finish the story. No, Tigger is not hurt. He is not butthurt at all. He is not butthurt. The book is done. The book is done. It's just I had to change a bunch of things, like I said, about 1,000 times. And it's always the people that ask the questions that don't ever hear the answer and then ask the question more times. I had to change the chat. I had to change the intro, take 2 chapters out, and change the outro. I did all of that. And my publisher has it, and it still sits to this day. So I took a shitload out. Sean, no. I just talk to his son periodically. Cat farts are terrible. What's up, Brian Mons? How are you, buddy? All right. In early February of 2017, something really unusual took place. I was at the local Target in Philadelphia shopping with my daughter. As we walked down the aisle, on our way to the electronics department, I noticed a young woman ahead of us, about 20 years of age. Absolutely nothing remarkable at first glance. She was thin, had long brown hair, t-shirt, sweatpants, and sneakers. It appeared that she was biting her nails because her hand was next to her mouth. As we got closer, in passing, there was something weird about her gait. Her strides seemed to be long and exaggerated. She was a little over 5 feet in height, so it looked odd. As we did get closer, what appeared to be her nail biting was actually her biting her fingers, to the point that there was blood visible. As we passed her, the woman turned to look at us. As we went by, her eyes were jet black. Then she gazed at me, staring me down as to intimidate me. It was like nothing I had ever experienced. A thought came to my brain. I'm not scared of you. I know what you are. My daughter says I was staring her down like she was staring me down. I walked by, ignored her, and stoically kept going. As we continued, my daughter stopped, bent down to fix her shoelaces. When she did so, she glanced back at the black-eyed woman walking away from us. She told me when she did this, a woman turned to look at us. Her head turned in a fast motion completely around. It frightened my daughter so bad that she begged to leave the store. I now feel as though this was an evil being, a negative energy, very intense and frightening. I've never believed in black-eyed people phenomena, but I now know that they do exist. I am confident that they are demonic and take on the form of humans. Time is it? All right. This encounter, then, a lot lizard story. This encounter occurred just south of Pittsburgh, PA, October 2018. Larry Lindman, thank you so much. Okay, I do. So that family, those crawlers, I think if you think about where in that setting is, I believe that falls in the Alaskan Triangle region, because it does go down to like Anchorage. And I myself believe that these crawlers are some sort of alien hybrid used by the aliens to guard deep underground military bases and such. And I think that possibly Dogmen instinctively know they don't like them, and they kind of may have like an ongoing feud or something. And I think these crawlers, I think the crawlers hunt Dogmen just as the same as Dogmen hunt them. One, because the crawlers are a hybrid. Two, I don't think Dogmen are hybrid. I think there's something completely different. But thank you, Larry. George, you have to pay YouTube to being a paid subscriber. It's a membership. You don't pay for a subscriber, George. It's a membership. But that doesn't stop the ads from being in the video. That's not me. I don't put the ads in. YouTube does that. To do that, you have to have you have to buy a YouTube membership program through YouTube itself. They're not even remotely, supposedly, Isco 555. They're two different species, supposedly. One has a tail and not hocked legs. The other has a tail and hocked legs. So two different creatures. A werewolf would more likely be related to a Bigfoot, I believe. Thank you, YouTube Premium. Thank you, Brian Mons. Thank you. Aramik leaving everybody open. Well, people have heard Bigfoot speak, I guess. Storm Zombie, yeah. Per Victor, yes. Charles, yeah, they're more or less like chimera, you know. Well, dogmen are more. People see dogmen more because there's more of them. There's less of the werewolves, but people still see them often. I don't know, Brian. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I know what Victor said. I shared it on my channel. Remember 555? Like 4 years ago, he was like my best friend in the whole world. I don't buy it either, Brian, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of bullshit out there. So I think I think okay, so I think that I personally believe that Bigfoot, because people have said they've heard Bigfoot speak, like I think they do. I mean, a fucking crow can repeat certain words if you think about it. So a dog man has a whole different kind of setup, even though we don't know if they're a dog canine or not, just because they look like people really think hyenas are dogs, you know? So if it looks like a dog, it must be a dog. No. I think they have a whole different kind of setup. Bigfoot, to me, I believe, if the same as very similar to werewolves and humans and whatever, I believe that Bigfoots have the ability to communicate. They just don't have the English language. You know what I mean? Like per Victor, werewolves can speak because they were in the breeding program. And the breeding program was at Camp Perry, which would be ran by the CIA. So obviously they would be intelligent. They would be taught intelligence as weapons. But Bigfoot's never made it. They never succeeded in the breeding program. So maybe they can speak, but they just don't know the English language. Maybe they like have their own language, like samurai chatter or whatnot. Appearance wise, Brian, but not in like species genus wise. Yeah, cats. That's why I said people think hyenas are dogs, but they're not. That's I didn't say they were. I said they're not. So yes, they're actually more related to a badger, I believe, or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Aramik, thank you so much, brother. Brother. What is a hyena closely related to? Mongoose. So yeah, like a badger. Are hyenas related to badger? No, they're not. They're not closely related. Hyenas are more closely related to mongoose, civet, cat, mink, weasels. But they are in the Thyloforma, which would be the cat-like carnivore. Badgers are in the dog-like. Huh. Interesting. I knew they were cat. I knew they weren't related to dogs. But I think it's funny that people think oh, it looks like a dog, it must be a dog, without looking into it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. All right. This encounter occurred just south of Pittsburgh, PA, October 2018. I'm a professional photographer and work throughout the region. I've been fortunate to have a successful business, great clients, and beautiful landscapes to work with. I went out one spring day for a wedding engagement shoot. The couple had specifically chosen an abandoned Piney Fork tunnel for the location. I was familiar with it, so I agreed. We shot at a few other sites, and then I met them out there late in the afternoon for the best lighting. I picked a good spot and started working. Everything was running smoothly at first until we started hearing sounds of something coming from somewhere inside the tunnel. It wasn't long enough that it was dark in the middle, so it was dark in the middle, so we couldn't see just past a few hundred feet. It sounded like someone or something was moving around in there. We tried to ignore it, and I just kept taking pictures, but the noises were getting louder and it was coming closer to us. The couple was now more uncomfortable and they looked tense in the pictures, so I suggested wrapping up, but they wanted to finish. I got in another few shots before we heard growling. We stared into the tunnel, petrified. The sounds were getting unsettling, though not actually concerning, but the deep growling meant something very different. It sounded large and threatening. After a quick discussion, we decided to leave and go to a backup location. I started to pack my lenses up as the couple were walking to their car. The growling continued and sounded as if it was getting closer. There was also a scraping sound. I panicked, grabbed my stuff, and ran for my car, got in, and immediately locked the doors. The couple was already pulling out, but I had parked facing the other way, so I needed to turn around. As I did, there was a brief second where my running lights shined into the tunnel entrance. In that second, I saw the source of the sound. It was huge. It definitely was not a stray dog, and many times larger than a German Shepherd, and it was standing on its hind legs, although it was bent forward. The beast, nearly 7 feet in height, the head was covered in a thick fur, and it had dog-like ears sticking up on the top of its head. I couldn't see the features clearly because it was too far away, but I saw the eyes reflecting the light. The eyes had a deep orangish red. I had absolutely no idea what I was seeing, but it walked on its hind legs. Then I blinked and it was gone. I followed the couple for the next location. When we got out, I asked them if they had seen the thing in the tunnel, but they said they hadn't. I wasn't sure if I should tell them what I saw because it sounded too crazy, even though they had heard the growling. I decided to keep the details to myself. We finished up the session as fast as we could. A few days later, I was sorting through their photos and I got the tunnel pics. As I had predicted, most were unusable because the couple looked tense and uncomfortable. Looking through them carefully to find the best ones to use, not wanting the location to be a total loss. In the last few images, I saw something weird. It looked like a glare or a light flare over the guy's shoulders. I zoomed in and played with the lighting until I saw it more clearly. It was not a lens flare. It seemed to be two orange eyes in the darkness of the tunnel. They appeared in each of the last few photos. and it was proof enough for me that we shouldn't be there. The creature in the tunnel is real. I knew that I couldn't include the photos. I knew that I couldn't include those in the portfolio, not knowing what was leering behind them. Lot Lizard story. All right, so do you want a Lot Lizard story or no? Yes, no, maybe. All right. Here we go. The fluorescent lights of the Double D truck stop buzzed like angry wasps, casting a sickly yellow glow on the greasy grills of the weary faces inside. But the real action, as always, was out in the parking lot, and tonight, the Double D was about to get a whole lot weirder. Earl, a man whose belly preceded him and whose trucker cap bore the slogan, I love diesel, hummed along to a country song on the radio. He was finishing his fourth cup of coffee, contemplating whether to risk the truck stop chili, when a beat-up Cadillac, all fins and faded glory, screeched to a halt beside his rig. Out stepped three women, each glorious, concoction of a Lot Lizard stereotype, but amplified to 11. First came Lizzo, a mountain of a woman with a heart of gold and a penchant for sequins. Then Lena, lean and mean, with a permanent sneer etched on her face. And finally, there was Luna, the baby of the family, all wide-eyed innocent, that hid a surprisingly brutal streak. Lizzo, bless her sequenced heart, had a soft spot for Earl. She admired his commitment to comfort, the way his trucker hat sat perched atop of his head, and the comforting rumble of his beer belly when he laughed. She even found his snoring endearing. Evening, Earl, Lizzo boomed, her voice a gravelly alto. How's my favorite trucker doing? Earl beamed. The sight of Lizzo always brightened his day. Lizzo, good to see you. Just thinking about tackling that chili. You girls making a pit stop? More than a pit stop, Earl, Lena hissed, cutting off Lizzo. We're taking over. Earl chuckled, thinking it was a joke. Taking over? Now, what you ladies want with this old truck stop? That's when Luna pulled out a rope. Before Earl could even process what was happening, Lena had wrestled him to his seat, his arms pinned behind him. Luna, her sweet smile never faltering, expertly tied him to the steering wheel. We're changing the game, Earl, Lena said, her voice dripping with malice. No more Mr. Nice Trucker. This parking lot is under new management. Lizzo watched horrified as Luna produced a paddle, a bright pink heart-shaped paddle. Luna, what in holy heck do you think you're doing? Lizzo roared, her voice shaking the fillings of Earl's teeth. We're teaching him a lesson, Lizzo, Luna chirped. He's been taking advantage of women for far too long. Earl, sweating profusely, stammered, I don't understand. I always tip well. Lena cackled. That's not the point, Earl. It's all about power. They raised the paddle, ready to administer their brand of feminine justice. Lizzo knew she had to act fast. These weren't the sisters she remembered. The ambition had twisted them. She couldn't let them hurt Earl, not Earl with his comfy belly and his beloved trucker hat. Stop right now, Lizzo bellowed, stepping between her sisters and the terrified trucker. Lena and Luna exchanged a look. Stand aside, Lizzo. This doesn't concern you. Oh, it concerns me plenty, Lizzo retorted, her sequence shimmering dangerously in the dim light. Earl's a good man. He tips well. He's always polite and he appreciates a woman's assets. He's a pig, Lena spat. Maybe, Lizzo conceded, but he's my pig, and nobody, not even my own flesh and blood, is going to paddle him while I'm around. The sisters squared off. Lizzo, the unexpected defender against Lena and Luna, the twisted, vengeful siblings. What followed was a brawl worthy of a redneck wrestling match. Lizzo, despite her size, moved with surprising agility. She used her considerable girth like a weapon, bouncing Lena off the Cadillac and sending Luna sprawled into a pile of discarded tires. Lena, quick and wiry, managed to scratch Lizzo's arm, drawing a gasp of pain, and Luna scrambled to her feet, grabbed a wrench from the toolbox, and charged. But Lizzo was ready. She grabbed a handful of Earl's chili, the very chili he had been contemplating just moments before, and flung it right into Luna's face, blinding and sputtering. Luna stumbled back, tripping over the discarded hubcap. With Lena momentarily distracted, Lizzo seized her chance. She scooped up Lena, hoisted her over the shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and deposited her, none too gently, into the trunk of the caddy. Get in there with your sister and think about what you done, Lizzo roared, slamming the trunk shut. Panting, Lizzo turned to Earl, who was still tied to his steering wheel, his eyes wide with shock. Lizzo, you saved me, he whispered. Lizzo untied him, her face flushed with exertion. Course I did, Earl. You're a good egg. Besides, she winked, I wasn't about to let them mess up that trucker hat. As the Cadillac, now carrying two very unhappy passengers, screeched out of the parking lot, Earl looked at Lizzo with a newfound respect. Lizzo, he said, you're amazing. Lizzo blushed, a rare sight on her usually bold face. Aw, shucks, Earl, just doing what's right. She paused, then added, and I wouldn't mind helping you finish off that chili. All that fighting's made me kind of hungry. Earl chuckled, the tension finally leaving his shoulders. Sounds good, Lizzo. Sounds real good. As they walked toward the Double D, the fluorescent lights seemed to flicker a bit less harshly. Maybe, just maybe, there was a little bit of magic left in that greasy parking lot after all. And maybe, just maybe, Earl was starting to appreciate Lizzo for more than just her ample charms. He thought about offering her a trucker hat as a token of gratitude, but then decided against it. It was a good hat, after all, and besides, he had a feeling he'd be needing it, especially if Lena and Luna ever decided to come back for a rematch. What's up, Tommy? Oh, Jesus. I'm glad that you're okay, Tommy. Dang it. Teo. Thank you, SDL. Thank you. Dang it. I'd be shaken up too. Thank you, Derek Connor. Golden Member is with us. Holy shit, Golden Member. What's up, buddy? Good old Golden Member. What's up, Vertebraker? How are you, buddy? Good seeing you. It is like a family reunion tonight. Tommy, I'm glad that you're well and with us. Golden Member is here with us. Vertebraker. Fucking Gringo. Aramak is here. Tyler 420. Motorboat. Big Jim didn't hear that one yet. Motorboat. Not yet. He will. He will. He'll get up tomorrow and listen to it. Jam. It will burn. Fucking will burn. There we go. That's better. That's better. I had to, Tommy. The old Franken beans were getting a little sticky. St. Louis got hit by a tornado. Yes. We almost did too, actually. We had some pretty nasty storms today too. It's fucking weird. That goddamn DARPA. Fucking DARPA. Thank you, Wilburn. It was nice. It was honestly nice. It was a beautiful day. Call my father-in-law, whose name is Roberto Diabetes. Now that he is officially diabetes. Fucking That's funny, dude. That is fucking awesome. Yeah, well, HARP program, LOL, is, but DARPA does too. LOL. Look into that. But don't Google it. Like, really, look. Maybe not tonight, Orion. I don't know. I got a big pile of stuff. They are fucking crazy there, buddy. Okay, so does anybody remember Virginia, Tazewell, Virginia, 2 or 3 years ago, when all of those people were going missing? And they kept finding the bodies and shit. And then all of a sudden, there was a fucking storm. Half of the town where the sheriff's department had found the bodies, had found all these bodies in caves and shit. Half that side of that town was under like severe weather warnings. There was rain, floods, and a bunch of other shit. And the other half of Tazewell was crystal clear. That's a little weird. Chris, thank you so much. The government does use HARP. DARPA's the one that funds everything, though. And you know what's weird is I appreciate that, man. I really do. I will. All of these organizations, DARPA, fucking HARP, CERN, all of these organizations all fall under one umbrella, but they all have their own names. That's to confuse us. That is really what it's doing. They're like, let's confuse these guys and name them all these fucking weird names and weird spellings and just fuck everybody up. That's because Taylor Swift is fucking eating them, Delirium. T Swift is a vampire. She's a vampire bitch. Old T Swift. She sucks those bones right dry. Ain't nothing better than a little bit of Mexicano Coke. She does got no booty. Dude, there's those YouTube shorts that always pop up, right? I fucking hate that shit. YouTube shorts where it's like this girl that pops up and she's like, look what I can do on my motorized unicycle. I can ride a log. Look at me. And she's riding a log and it's like looking at my pencil riding a log. It's like this. It's a pencil that is a bar slut that in all the comments are like all of these dirty old men that have never seen a woman before. They're like, oh my God, thank you for doing that. You're so beautiful. Oh, thank you. Oh. And I'm like, dude, are you all fucking cavemen? Like, for real? I never heard that, SDL. I never heard that. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Golden member. I never heard about Taylor Swift and Anton LaVey, but Anton LaVey was dead before Taylor Swift was alive. So that doesn't make sense. But I heard about the Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley summoning a demon, which was supposed to be the star sister or moon daughter, which ironically enough would be Hillary Clinton. Dude, Aramic, that is not right. That is not right. I see you vaping, but I don't know if you're vaping live. If you are, I think it does have vaporizer. You would love. I don't know what that is. I like the Juul. Dude, you don't have to, Aramic, you don't have to say you're sorry. I was just joking. Anton's daughter and Swift look alike. I gotta see this. Anton LaVey's daughter. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Holy shit. Xena does look a lot like her. Holy shit. Dude, that's scary. Taylor Swift's real mom. Oh my God.
According to
that's not her mom.
Her father, Scott Kingsley Swift.
That's not her fucking mom. Xena. It's Zeena. Is her mom. Holy shit. Taylor Swift's mom is not her mom. Holy moly. I gotta smell the fucking Vegemite after that one. Woof. Vegemite, it keeps you going. Holy shit. That's pretty interesting. It does put something in your nose. Oof. I got a Taylor Swift upload or story for you. Fuck. All right. I met this girl on the internet. I invited her down to Sacramento, California to have some dinner. We were seated at this small round table, kind of facing each other, and all of a sudden, this arm reached over my shoulder to grab my water glass. The guy's arm was so white, it looked like all of the blood had been drained out of it. I mean, it was so shocking. I could tell by the look on her face that she could see this guy, that it was something. So when he walked around to the other side to get her water glass, I could see him. It was not just he looked pale. No, it looked like he was dead. It looked like he was totally drained from all of his blood. After he walked away, we said, "Whoa, did you see that?" We were kind of talking about it, like we got talking about other things while we were eating our dinner. The maitre d' that had seated us was leaning against the bar about 15 feet away from me, waiting on a customer to come in. And he didn't know I was looking at him, I don't think. From the side, all of a sudden, he just kind of raised his lips for a second, and I clearly saw fangs. And then maybe a half a minute, 45 seconds later, he saw a customer come in the door, smiled to greet them, and clearly there were no fangs there. I know what I saw. I clearly saw fangs on him. And then the next second, they were not there. Couple that with the guy who looked like he had all of his blood drained out of him. That was very scary. The girl I was with also noticed odd things occurring as well. We finished our dinner as quickly as possible. We felt so uneasy about walking back to my place that night. Even though I only lived 2 blocks away, I hailed a cab. Just note, there is bizarre unexplained death reports at that same restaurant 3 weeks later. I wonder if this is related somehow. Cat Mom, have a good night. All right, so we have black-eyed kids, and now we have these. I was in a 24-hour shopping center car park waiting for a friend who works there at around 10 p.m. Suddenly, a kid pops up out of the window screen and starts tapping. I'm thinking, where the hell did he come from? Is he trying to rob me? Anyway, I roll the window down only partially and remember that my doors are locked, so I feel safer. I ask the kid, "What do you want?" "Sir, I am lost. Can you take me home?" I ask, "Where are your parents?" As it was late at night, and there was no one else visible on the same floor I'm waiting on. This was starting to feel off. "I am lost and I just want to go home," he replied. This was definitely weird. I look at him again. Then I take a double take. Oh my God, his eyes were white. Not just white around the edges, but unending white through his entire eye. No iris, no pupil, just a solid wall of white. I really don't know why, but I felt myself smiling slightly as I gazed at him. Then my thoughts began to collect again. It must have been about 3 seconds. Sorry, kid. No, I have to go. Immediately regretting my reply, but immediately regretting replying. "But you have to take me," the kid replied. I don't know how, but I could feel his voice more than I could hear it. His words began to echo in my mind longer than it should have. No, kid, I gotta go. I started to panic. The kid replied again, this time with something indescribable behind his voice. I'm lost and I just want to go home. I don't know how, but at this point, it was as if someone had put the kid's voice on a loudspeaker, and as he spoke, I felt it through the booming, resonating within this kid. The force of the kid's voice was so strong. It felt strangely, I felt strangely sympathetic to this kid, almost like I was being forced by him. Anyway, with the last ounce of control I had left, I turned the car on and slammed on the accelerator. The kid immediately shouts, "No, take me with you." At this point, it was as if this kid's voice was a machine gun firing at me. I immediately sped to the nearest exit in a dreamlike state and drove into the night. My friend at this point could find his own way back from work. While driving and exiting from the car park, I could still feel his voice within me resonating. The force of his voice, it was as if I had been picked up and violently shaken by this kid whose voice was so clear, and my unconscious was analyzing every nuisance and infection of what he had said, like being forced. There was so much force behind it. Anyway, after I got back to my apartment, I immediately tried to forget the whole thing. The next day, I drive to work in the normal manner, and my friend was there resentful that I had left, but we soon went back to good terms. I never did tell him or anyone else about the incident. The strangest thing did happen, however, on that same day. When I was driving back from work back to my apartment, there was a tremendous thunderstorm, and I noticed flashes, although I didn't see it, of lightning. When I was at my apartment building, I live in a complex, I opened a huge metal door to get in, and it was soaking wet. There was a handprint on my door. I only noticed it when I looked down to pull the handle shut at the same height a small child would be. The handprint was white, and although the door was dripping with water, the handprint seemed to be made of recently dried paint. I touched it, looked up, and felt it in my hands to make sure it was painted. It was. I looked down again. The handprint, within 2 second span of me sampling it and looking up, had gone from white to clear, from the rain dripping on the door. I touched it again and felt it. It was painted, but now completely soaked with water. It vanished. I put my hand on where the print had been, and there was nothing there, just a metal door. For some reason, I looked behind me, and of course, there was no one there. I went inside, made my way up to my apartment, and earlier that night, had an early night. I have not encountered any white-eyed kid since, or any being supernatural type of matter. However, I now live a slightly more cautious life. I have become more religious now and occasionally read the Bible when I didn't really believe in God before. Maybe I will go to church. I don't know. The fact is, these creatures actually exist and are waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Delirium, thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you. No, you're not sending. I didn't get it, Delirium. I didn't get it. I apologize, but no, I didn't get it. Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah, I would definitely find God after that. That's so awesome. That's amazing. Fucking A. All right, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Shadow being. Here we go. I'm describing my first experience that I can remember. I believe I was 15 years old. I had gone to bed that Saturday night, probably between 10 and 11 p.m. I lived in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. My bedroom was on the top floor of our house in a turret. There was a single bed on either side of the room, which was in the shape of an octagon. I woke up with a start and looked over at the other bed and saw my cat sleeping there. He always did. I then looked at my clock radio, which had been acting strangely over the past few weeks. It had been turning itself on and off, usually around the same time at night. Perhaps I had gotten so used to it why I had woken up, but the time on it only said 12:15. I tried to roll over and go back to sleep. Suddenly, I found myself paralyzed on my back, unable to move. There was a tall being beside me to my left. The right side of my bed was against the wall. This being was also a shadow, but its eyes glowed white. It began to communicate with me via ESP. I was somehow able to communicate back in that same way. I don't remember anything. I do remember it asking me if I wanted to join it on its ship. Then suddenly a craft appeared by the window, and greenish, blue, and violet lights were flashing from a silver disc-like UFO that was being operated by others. They were in the room with me. It hovered there for several minutes. During that period of time, the shadowy being took what was to me its index finger and touched me on my solar plex. I then woke up to a start. My cat was not on the other bed, and the clock radio said only midnight now. I thought I experienced a bad dream. The following morning, I went to get in the shower, and on my soloplex was a marking. It remained there for a number of years and was very sensitive. It comes and goes now. When that spot on me is touched, I feel the endorphins being released. I have had other experiences since this one, such as sightings of strange things in the sky and being paralyzed in bed, seeing strange lights flash and shadows. However, none were quite like this. I also had some inorganic material exit my body several months ago, which I am not comfortable showing to the doctor. Inorganic material coming out of their butthole. They must have been hanging out with Lizzo. No, it was inorganic, enormous. Why's my light doing that? He was touched by something. I think maybe Aramic touched him. It's fucking hot in here. They are everywhere. What's that? That YouTube channel. The one in Maine. Shit. It starts with a C. There's a YouTube channel that's in Maine. Something Shadow People of Maine. Shadow People of Maine. YouTube. Carmel, Maine. If you guys ever want to see like real shadow people, Carmel, Maine YouTube channel. Type in Shadow People of Carmel, Maine. Remember, we don't judge people, Jeff. I don't know. I'm not judging anybody. And I don't want to again. Dude, it's scary. Thank you, Spaghetti Guy. Send me an email, buddy. Golden member got no love that way. No, I don't, Teo line. Or Teo now. No, I don't. I'm not Art Bell yet. I'm just kidding. Maybe someday. I'm still just a small channel. I know you were, Andy. I know. I think I may do it. I think sometime I may do it. I got to figure out how to do it, though. I wish, Wiley. I wish. My grandpa used to listen to him back in the... My grandpa only listened to Paul Harvey and Art Bell. Rockin' steady. How are you, my friend? As a United States Air Force law enforcement specialist, I had earned leadership and respect by doing what I am told to do, no matter how difficult the task. At the time, I was stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. A drugged-up civilian man attempted to beat me to death. He was charged and pled guilty to attempted murder of a federal officer. I had been shot at several times by gang members who thought they could send their buddies on base to sell dope and mess with enlisted men. I had been recruited into nuclear weapons security and presidential security. These are just a few of my duties while I served. In January of 2002, early in the morning at around 2 a.m., I entered a conventional weapons storage area in Barksdale Air Force Base. The CAS area is located away from the main area of the base, carved out of a heavy forest. Inside the CAS are bunkers. The bunkers have large locks on the doors that are easy to see using a spotlight from a vehicle. I enjoyed doing the CAS checks because it was often peaceful. But on this particular night, I had a gut feeling something was wrong. I called dispatch and informed them that I was doing the CAS area check. Dispatch understood I would be in the area for approximately 20 minutes. The check ended up taking much longer because the weather went from a misting to a heavy fog, and mist limited my visibility to 50 yards. With a spotlight, I crept through the CAS area to check the bunkers. I became more and more scared, a fear that was new to me. I had never experienced this before. I felt almost desperate need to leave the area. However, I was not finished with my area inspection. I stopped my vehicle, got out, chambered around in my M4, and ensured that my M9 sidearm ready. After re-entering the vehicle, I continued my inspection. As I cleared the older bunkers, I entered the new bunker area. The fear I felt was thick in the air, and I had to fight against that gut feeling that needed to leave the area quickly. As I approached a newer bunker, I slowed down and pulled up very close to them because of the heavy fog and mist. I turned on my spotlight and was shocked to see a row of bunker doors haphazardly and the padlocks cut off and lying on the ground. I immediately called dispatch and informed them that I needed backup and that I had found an unsecured area. Dispatch acknowledged, informed me they did not have a unit to back me up and I should clear the area alone. Everything I was informed to do was so far out of the normal procedures, and I knew dispatch was dealing with a much bigger issue. I put the vehicle in park, grabbed my M4 rifle, and slipped the safety off. I took out the flashlight and looked into the bunkers that had been cut open to find them completely empty. I called dispatch and informed them that I was going to return to the main base, and they acknowledged. I got back into my vehicle. The inspection was complete, and I drove up to the lock gate to exit the area. As I exited the vehicle again, I had this absolute terror wash over me, to the point that I looked around into the darkness. I even called out asking, "Is there someone here?" And nothing but complete silence. To make a long story short, the gate was stuck. I was unable to open it. The evil feeling became incredibly strong now. I could feel the presence standing behind me. It was full of hate. I became increasingly aware of this invisible entity or creature. I stopped and turned toward the area. I could feel this thing was near me, and I asked politely to allow it to let me leave. I turned back to the gate, and the gate was open freely. I drove my vehicle through the lock gate from the inside and walked about 20 feet from the pedestrian gate and attempted to lock it and leave. I couldn't unlock it. I felt this entity almost pressing against me, emitting an overwhelming fear within me. I once again turned toward the entity and asked if I could please leave. I turned back to the gate, and it was easily unlocked. I exited the gate and turned around, locking it. I had this distinct feeling that this early entity was not able to leave the CAS area, and I was safe from that. But it felt as if it was projected hate and intensity on me. I cleared a round out of my M4 and put the weapon back in my truck. I returned to normal duties, but soon realized several hours had passed after conducting just a 20-minute inspection. It was now 7 a.m. I returned to the main base, turned in my weapons, and went to Flight Chief office to explain why I had returned late. I knocked on the door and pushed the door open to see the day shift flight chief sitting back at his desk. When he recognized me, he stood up and said in a very aggressive manner, "Did you see it?" I was thinking that the NCO was talking about the open bunkers, and I said, yes, sir. He came closer in an aggressive manner and asked if I had opened the bunkers. I said, no. He came closer in an aggressive manner and asked if I had seen the creature. I was taken back. No, but I felt it. He looked me in the eyes, told me never to go to the CAS area alone, and if I was ordered to, which was common, to discreetly inform dispatch I can't enter the area alone because I was given a lawful order not to. Strangely, I was never assigned to CAS area again. After many years, I still have no idea with what I encountered that night. All right, I'll read it after the live, Spaghetti Guy. Hang on. Stephen Findley. I'm gonna give you my email address. Hang on. My email address is underneath Samara and above Rock and Steady. Thank you, Rock and Steady. Oh. Last lot lizard story of the night. This one's good. This one is very good. Are you ready? Lizzo leaned against the chrome bumper of Big Joe's 18-wheeler. The truck stop's neon sign buzzed a lurid halo around her. She chewed gum. The saccharine sweetness, a thin shield against the diesel fumes in desperation, clung to the air. Business had been slow tonight. Slower than a possum playing dead on a highway. Lizzo was a lot lizard, a professional of the interstate, and she prided herself on her ability to handle anything the road threw at her. Drunk truckers, lonely cowboys, even the occasional confused tourist. But tonight, something felt different. The air crackled with a weird energy, and the unusual symphony of grunts, engine roars, and country twang was muted, replaced by a high-pitched whine that made her teeth ache. Suddenly, a dazzling beam of light enveloped her. 1 minute she was chewing gum, the next minute she was floating upward. The asphalt shrinking below her like a discarded pizza crust. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced through her hardened exterior. "What the hell you think you're doing?" she yelled, but her voice was swallowed by a roaring wind. She found herself inside a space shuttle that looked suspiciously like a chrome-plated porta-potty, but was much larger. The interior reeked of disinfectant and something vaguely floral, like poopery, that had been left in a tanning bed for too long. The occupants were unconventional. They were short, green, and completely hairless, except for two bulbous antennae that sprouted on their heads like oversized asparagus spears. Their eyes, black and shiny like polished obsidian, regarded her with an unnerving curiosity. But it wasn't their appearance that made Lizzo's stomach churn. It was their hands, or rather their appendages. They were long, spindly, and ended not in fingers, but in, well, Lizzo could only describe them like butthole detectors. Little suction-cupped probes that twitched and pulsated with an unsettling enthusiasm. One of the aliens, seemingly the leader, communicated with a series of clicks and whistles. A device translated the alien gobbledygook into surprisingly intelligible English. "Greetings, Earthlings. We have chosen you." Lizzo, still trying to process the whole abduction by anal probing alien scenario, managed a weak, "Chosen me for what?" "Alien butthole detectors pulsating with anticipation to be our queen." Lizzo stared at them, dumbfounded. "Queen? A queen of what? A convention for green, hairless weirdos with a fetish for that?" She gestured vaguely at their unsettling appendages. The alien cleared its throat, a sound like a rusty zipper being undone. "Our planet, hairy ass. We have long observed your robust physique and your commanding presence. You possess the qualities most admired on hairy ass: amplitude, resilience, and the remarkable tolerance for questionable hygiene." The ship landed with a gentle thud. Lizzo was herded out onto the landscape that looked like a giant, overgrown chia pet. Everything, the trees, the rocks, the very ground beneath her feet, was covered in thick, vibrating mat of hair. Long, flowing, matted, braided, in some cases suspiciously sticky hair. The inhabitants of Hairy Ass, a race of similar build and color to the aliens who abducted her, swarmed around her, chanting in a language that sounded like a cross between a hairdryer and a bagpipe. They presented her with a crown woven from the most magnificent strands of pubic hair, she had ever seen. Lizzo, never one to back down from a challenge, slowly nodded. "All right," she said, adjusting her crown with a surprisingly regal air. "I'm your queen, but things are going to change around here. First, we're getting rid of those butthole detectors. Seriously creepy. Second, we're introducing a proper hygiene regimen. And third, we're starting a planet-wide hair braiding contest. It's time to bring a little order to this hairy chaos. Life on Hairy Ass under Queen Lizzo was unconventional. She instituted mandatory showers using a surprisingly effective, all-bit hairy soap. She replaced the butthole detectors with the back scratchers, most popular, and taught the Hairyasians the art of French braid. Hairyasians, the art of French braid. The Hairyasians, initially bewildered by Lizzo's earthbound customs, quickly came to appreciate her leadership. She was strong, she was fair, mostly, and she had an uncanny ability to untangle even the most knotted hair. One day, looking out over her hairy kingdom, Lizzo couldn't help but smile. She was a queen of a planet of green hairy aliens. It wasn't exactly the life she had envisioned back at the truck stop, but it was certainly more interesting. Then she remembered Big Joe's 18-wheeler, the neon sign for the truck stop, and a possum playing dead on the highway. She sighed. Guess I should be looking to call him, she muttered, putting out her intergalactic smartphone. He's probably wondering where the queen is and what the size will be. After all, a queen had to keep her appearance, even on Hairy Ass, and even if her subjects had a little predation for unconventional probing. Damn it, I'm tired. Oh. Proper hygiene. Oh. Good night, Gringo. It was good seeing you. Thank you for joining us tonight. No, STL. It was just I'm exhausted. I have not slept very good in the last couple of days. I couldn't put fucking Earl in that one. I just couldn't put it. What's up, Pauly Pete? Johnny Ohm, thank you so much. Professional wrestling moves. Ah. Oh. There we go. That's a little better. So tired. I'm going to go to sleep. I don't sleep good at all. So I live in the Adirondacks, as many of you know, and I found this, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Back in 1957, my mom, my dad, and my little sister, who was 6, were picnicking in Rouse Point, New York, on the shore of Lake Champlain. At one point, my sister walked to the end of the dock and looked into the water. She turned to leave and heard a noise behind her. She turned and saw 2 black, webbed hands appear at the end of the dock. Then suddenly a child-sized head appeared. At this point, she screamed and ran back to us and told us what she had seen. Her scream had already alarmed us, and we were running toward her to see what was wrong. After she told us what happened, my dad told us to stay here and went to inspect the dock, where he found 2 web-like handprints at the end. Well, their picnic was over. Many times I heard my dad relate this story to friends and family. Sometimes they would nod their heads and recount their own odd stories on Lake Champlain. 2 more things. Years later, when my sister saw the old movie Creature from the Black Lagoon, she swears that it was similar to the creature that she saw that day. When Dad who lived on a fish lake, passed away. I was going through his belongings to find at the bottom of a tackle box a loaded 45. Odd for a tackle box. And guess he thought better safe than sorry. I'm 70 and it makes no difference to me if you believe this or not. I'm just relating what happened years ago while on a picnic. Thank you. Damn it. All right, I gotta crash tonight. I am fucking drained. I am sorry. All right. I pulled 2.5 hours. I can't do anymore. I apologize. But thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate everybody. Oh, man, it was honestly a good night. We had a great night tonight, huh? We had a ton of old people come back. It was awesome. It was awesome. I had such a good time. I just wish I wasn't so tired. Thank you, Stephen. Eli, you have a good night too. All right, so next week I'll have a couple of new lot lizard stories for you. I'll work on them good. Pups, happy birthday again. And thank you. Simone, thank you. I am not smelling it and I am not opening it again. Anyway, love you all. I had a blast. You guys make my weekend special. So thank you for spending it with me. And good night.